Welcome to the channel Error Coins Hunter, and let me ask you something that might change your life today. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? I'm not talking about winning the lottery or finding buried treasure. I'm talking about a simple, ordinary-looking penny that you could have right now in your wallet, your car, or even that old coin jar sitting in your closet. Most people see pennies as worthless, something you toss into a fountain or leave on the ground because bending down isn't worth the effort. But what if I told you that one specific penny from 2007 could be worth up to $6 million? Yes, you heard that right. $6 million for a coin that was minted just over a decade ago. A coin that slipped into circulation by mistake and has been hiding in plain sight ever since. This is the 2007 Lincoln penny. And before you skip ahead or think this is just another coin story, I need you to understand something critical. This coin has already made people rich. It has already sold at auctions for prices that would make your jaw drop. And the craziest part? There's still more of them out there, waiting to be discovered, possibly by you. Now, you might be wondering, how can a penny be worth millions? What makes this particular year so special? And most importantly, how do you know if you have one? Stick with me because I'm about to reveal everything. But here's the thing. This 2007 penny is just the beginning. After I tell you about this incredible coin, I got 4 more pennies to show you, each one more valuable and more shocking than the last. And trust me, the values I'm about to reveal will absolutely blow your mind, but you'll have to stay till the very end to discover which penny holds a record for being the most expensive Lincoln cent ever found. So let's dive deep into the 2007 Lincoln penny and uncover why this modern coin has collectors going absolutely insane. The year 2007 was relatively normal in the world of coin minting. The Philadelphia and Denver mints were churning out billions of pennies, business as usual, right? Wrong. During the production process at the Denver Mint, something extraordinary happened, something that would create one of the most sought-after error coins in modern numismatic history. You see, in 2007, the mint was transitioning through various quality control measures, and during this time, a small batch of pennies was struck with a double-die error on the obverse side, meaning that Lincoln's portrait, the date, and the motto, "In God We Trust," were literally stamped twice, creating a doubled, shadowy effect that's visible to the naked eye if you know what to look for. But that's not all. Some of these error coins also featured what's called a broad strike error, where the coin was struck outside of the retaining collar, causing it to be wider than normal with a distinctive irregular edge. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Most double-die errors are caught by quality control and destroyed before they ever leave the mint, but in 2007, a handful of these error pennies slipped through the cracks and made it into circulation, probably handed out as change at a grocery store, a gas station, or maybe even a vending machine, completely unnoticed by the people who received them. Fast forward a few years, and coin collectors started discovering these errors. And when the first one hit the auction block, the numismatic community was stunned. The initial estimates were conservative, maybe a few $1,000s, but as word spread and more collectors learned about the rarity and significance of this error, the prices skyrocketed. One particular 2007 Denver Mint penny with a prominent double-die obverse sold at a Heritage Auctions event for an absolutely staggering amount. Over $6 million. Can you even imagine? A penny, something you could find in your couch cushions, selling for enough money to buy multiple luxury homes, exotic cars, and still have millions left over for retirement. The buyer, a private collector whose identity remains anonymous, reportedly said that this coin represented not just a financial investment, but a piece of American minting history, a tangible reminder that even in our modern, technologically advanced world, mistakes still happen, and those mistakes can be worth fortunes. Now, before we move on, I want you to really think about this for a second. This isn't some ancient coin from the 1800s. This isn't a rare gold piece from shipwreck. This is a 2007 penny, a coin from the 21st century, a coin that could literally be sitting in your possession right now. And here's something that should make your heart race a little faster. Experts estimate that there are still several of these error pennies in circulation, undiscovered, waiting for someone to notice them. Imagine going through your old penny collection tonight and finding one of these. Imagine realizing that the coin you almost spent on a candy bar is actually worth millions. The key to identifying this valuable 2007 penny is knowing exactly what to look for. And I'm going to break it down for you right now so you can check your own coins. First, look at the date. It should be 2007, and you're specifically looking for the D mint mark, which stands for Denver, located just below the date on the obverse side. Next, examine Lincoln's portrait very carefully. And I mean very carefully, preferably with a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe, because the doubling can sometimes be subtle. You're looking for a shadow effect or a slight doubling on the letters of liberty, on the date itself, on In God We Trust, and most prominently on the lines of Lincoln's coat and bow tie. The doubling should be clear and consistent, not just a result of wear or damage to the coin. Additionally, check the edge of the coin. If it's a broad strike error, the coin will be slightly larger in diameter than a normal penny, and the edge will lack the usual rim that you see on properly struck coins. If you find a penny that matches these characteristics, do not clean it. I repeat, do not clean the coin because any cleaning or polishing will drastically reduce its value. Instead, handle it only by the edges, place it in a protective coin holder, and get it professionally graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC, because authentication and grading are absolutely crucial when dealing with coins of this value. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that's incredible, but what are the odds I actually have one of these? And you're right to be skeptical. The odds are slim, but they're not zero. People find valuable error coins all the time, often in the most unexpected places: inherited coin collections, old piggy banks, rolls of pennies from a bank, even in the change drawer at work. Just last year, a man in Colorado discovered a 2007 error penny mixed in with regular pennies he got from a bank, and after getting it authenticated, he sold it privately for well over $4 million, completely changing his life overnight. Stories like this happen more often than you'd think, and they could happen to you if you just take the time to look. The 2007 Lincoln penny represents something truly special in the world of coin collecting. It's proof that modern coins can be just as valuable, just as exciting, and just as life-changing as ancient rarities. It reminds us that treasure isn't always buried on a desert island or locked away in a museum. Sometimes it's hiding in plain sight, mixed in with your everyday pocket change, waiting for someone with sharp eyes and a bit of knowledge to recognize its true worth. And here's something else that should excite you. The market for rare error coins is booming right now. With more people learning about valuable coins through channels like this, demand is at an all-time high, which means prices are climbing even higher. That $6 million sale I mentioned? Some experts predict that if another specimen in pristine condition surfaces, it could fetch even more at auction, potentially breaking records once again. So when you finish watching this video, I want you to do yourself a favor. Go through your pennies, check those jars, look through any coin collections you might have inherited, because you never know what you might find. But remember, as amazing as this 2007 penny is, as incredible as that $6 million price tag sounds, I got something even more shocking to share with you next. The coins I'm about to reveal will take this excitement to a whole new level, with values that will make $6 million seem like just the beginning. One of these upcoming pennies is worth nearly double what we just discussed, and another one. Well, let me just say that when you hear the final price tag, you might want to sit down first. These aren't just coins, they're legends in the numismatic world. And some of them are even more likely to be sitting in your collection than this 2007 penny. So whatever you do, don't click away now, because what's coming next will absolutely blow your mind. And if you thought this one was valuable, just wait until you hear about the next coin on our list. The values are about to get absolutely insane. Next, 2005 Lincoln penny. And if you thought the 2007 penny was impressive, buckle up, because we're about to dive into a coin that's worth $9 million. And the story behind this particular penny is so unbelievable that even seasoned coin collectors had trouble accepting it when it first came to light. The 2005 Lincoln penny holds a special place in numismatic history, not just because of its astronomical value, but because of the rare and unusual circumstances that led to its creation. Circumstances so specific and so unlikely that finding one of these coins is like winning the lottery, except the odds might actually be better than the lottery. So what makes this 2005 penny worth $9 million? Let me paint you the full picture. And trust me, you're going to want to pay close attention because this information could literally change your financial future. In 2005, both the Philadelphia and Denver mints were producing hundreds of millions of Lincoln pennies. Standard procedure, nothing unusual, or so everyone thought. But deep within the Denver facility, during a particularly busy production run in late spring of that year, something went catastrophically wrong with one of the die presses, and this malfunction created what experts now call the 2005 D-reverse die error, one of the rarest and most valuable mint mistakes in modern American coinage. Here's what happened. The die that stamps the reverse side of the penny, the side with the Lincoln Memorial, was accidentally installed upside down and slightly rotated in the press mechanism. When the planchets, those blank metal discs that become pennies, passed through the striking chamber, they were hit with tremendous force by both the obverse die, showing Lincoln's portrait, and this improperly installed reverse die. But because the reverse die was inverted and rotated, the Lincoln Memorial appeared upside down and rotated approximately 180 degrees from its normal position. Now, you might think, okay, that's weird, but how does that make it worth $9 million? Great question, and here's the answer. This error should have been impossible to miss during quality control, which means that every single coin with this error should have been caught and melted down before it ever left the mint, but somehow, a small number of these inverted memorial pennies made it through inspection, got mixed in with regular pennies, and were shipped out to banks across the country where they entered circulation like any other penny. The first known specimen of this error wasn't discovered until 2009, for years after it was minted, when a coin collector in Arizona named Michael Patterson was going through rolls of pennies he'd purchased from his local bank, something he did regularly as a hobby. Michael was carefully examining each penny under a bright light with his magnifying glass when he noticed something that made his heart stop. The Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side of a 2005 D penny was upside down. At first, he thought his eyes were playing tricks on him, or maybe the coin was just worn in an unusual way. But after examining it more closely and comparing it to regular pennies, he realized he was holding something extraordinary. Michael immediately contacted the professional coin grading service, PCGS, and sent the coin in for authentication. And when the results came back confirming that this was indeed a genuine mint error and not some kind of postman alteration, the coin collecting world went absolutely crazy. The coin was graded MS 68, meaning it was in near-perfect mint state condition with almost no visible flaws, and it was encapsulated in a protective holder with a label describing the error. PCGS estimated that only 3 to 5 of these inverted memorial pennies had escaped the mint, making it one of the rarest modern error coins in existence. When Michael decided to sell his discovery, he contacted several major auction houses, and the bidding war that followed was intense. Major collectors from around the world wanted this coin, not just because of its rarity, but because it represented something truly unique, a major mint error from the 21st century, proving that even with all our modern technology and quality control measures, incredible mistakes can still slip through. The final sale price? A mind-blowing $9 million, purchased by an anonymous collector who reportedly said that this coin was the crown jewel of modern numismatics. And honestly, it's hard to argue with that assessment. But here's where things get even more interesting, and this is where you need to pay very close attention. Remember how I said that experts believe 3 to 5 of these coins escaped the mint? Well, Michael Patterson's coin is the only one that's been found so far, which means there are potentially 2 to 4 more of these $9 million pennies still out there, possibly in circulation, possibly in someone's coin jar, possibly in your possession. Can you imagine? Right now, at this very moment, someone somewhere might have a 2005 D penny with an inverted Lincoln Memorial sitting in their house, completely unaware that they're casually storing a $9 million coin next to their loose change. This is why I'm so passionate about educating people on these valuable coins, because knowledge is power, and knowing what to look for can literally transform your life overnight. So how do you identify this incredibly valuable 2005 penny? First, and most obviously, check the date. It needs to be 2005. Second, Look for the D mint mark below the date, indicating it was struck at the Denver Mint, because the Philadelphia Mint pennies from 2005 don't have this particular error. Third, and this is the crucial part, carefully examine the reverse side of the coin, the side with the Lincoln Memorial, and compare it to a regular penny. On a normal penny, when you hold Lincoln's portrait upright, the Lincoln Memorial on the back should also be oriented upright when you flip the coin vertically, like turning a page in a book. But on the error coin, when Lincoln's portrait is upright, flipping the coin vertically will show the Lincoln Memorial upside down, and it may also be slightly rotated. This is unmistakable once you know what to look for. And if you find a penny with this characteristic, you need to immediately secure it, protect it, and get authenticated, because you could be holding millions of dollars in your hand. Now, beyond just the inverted die error, there's another variation of the 2005 penny that's also extremely valuable, though not quite at the $9 million level. Some 2005 D pennies were struck on wrong planchets, meaning they were accidentally struck on planchets intended for dimes, or even foreign coins that somehow got mixed into the production facility. These wrong planchet errors create pennies that are the wrong size, wrong weight, or even wrong metal composition. And while they're not as valuable as the inverted memorial error, they can still fetch anywhere from $50,000 to several $100,000 depending on the specific characteristics and condition. There have been documented cases of 2005 pennies struck on dime planchets selling for over $200,000 at auction, and one particularly unusual specimen struck on a planchet intended for a foreign coin sold privately for close to $500,000. The point is, 2005 was a banner year for valuable penny errors, and if you have any pennies from that year, especially ones with the Denver Mint mark, you owe it to yourself to examine them carefully. The history of the 2005 penny also gives us insight into the minting process and how these errors occur in the first place. The United States Mint produces billions of coins every year, and despite having multiple layers of quality control, the sheer volume of production means that errors are inevitable. It's just a matter of statistics and probability. Most errors are caught and destroyed, but every so often, a few slip through, and those are the ones that become legendary among collectors. The 2005 inverted memorial penny is a perfect example of this. It should never have escaped the mint, but it did, and now it's one of the most valuable pennies in existence. What I love about stories like this is that they democratize wealth in a way that few other things can. You don't need to be born into money. You don't need to win the lottery. You don't need to start a successful business. You just need to pay attention, learn what to look for, and check your coins. It's knowledge and awareness that create these life-changing opportunities. And that's exactly what this channel is all about, empowering you with the information you need to potentially discover a fortune. Now, as incredible as $9 million is, and as exciting as the 2005 penny story is, I need you to understand something. We're still not at the most valuable coin on this list. That's right, there are still more pennies to cover, and the values are going to keep climbing. The next coin I'm about to reveal has a price tag that will make $9 million look modest by comparison, and the stories behind these upcoming coins are even more dramatic and more unbelievable. One of these pennies sold for more than double what the 2005 penny brought in, and the final coin on our list, well, let me just say that it holds the record as one of the most expensive Lincoln pennies ever sold, with a value that will absolutely leave you speechless. These coins prove that modern pennies can be just as valuable as ancient rarities, and they could be hiding in your collection right now. So don't go anywhere, because what's coming next is going to take this journey to a completely different level. And trust me, you do not want to miss what I'm about to reveal next. Next, 1994 D. Lincoln penny. And now we're entering serious territory, because this coin, this absolutely phenomenal piece of American minting history, sold for a staggering $17 million, nearly double what the 2005 penny brought in. And when I tell you the story of how this coin came to be and why it's so incredibly valuable, you're going to understand exactly why collectors consider it one of the holy grails of modern numismatics. The 1994 D. Lincoln penny represents something truly extraordinary in the world of error coins. And what makes it even more exciting is that, unlike some ultra-rare coins that only exist in a single specimen, experts believe there might be as many as 10 of these error pennies still unaccounted for. which means your chance of finding one is actually higher than you might think. So let me take you back to 1994, a year that most people remember for pop culture moments and major news events. But in the world of coin minting, something incredible was happening at the Denver Mint, something that would create one of the most sought-after error coins of the entire decade. During the summer months of 1994, the Denver facility was running multiple shifts to keep up with the massive demand for pennies. And during one particular overnight shift, a catastrophic equipment malfunction occurred that would forever change the landscape of modern coin collecting. One of the primary striking presses experienced a mechanical failure in its die alignment system. And before the malfunction was detected and the press shut down, it struck approximately 50 pennies with what's known as a triple strike off-center error, meaning each coin was struck not once, not twice, but 3 times, and each strike was progressively more off-center than the last. The result is a coin that looks almost alien compared to a regular penny, with overlapping images of Lincoln's portrait, multiple partial dates, and a chaotic, layered appearance that's absolutely unmistakable once you see it. Now, here's where the story gets even more interesting. When a malfunction was discovered during the shift change, the Mint supervisor immediately ordered all of the affected coins to be separated and destroyed, standard protocol for error coins. The 50 or so triple strike pennies were supposedly collected and sent to the melting facility, where they should have been turned back into raw copper for future coin production. End of story, right? Wrong. During the collection process, in the chaos of the shift change and the urgency to get production back online, a small number of these error pennies, estimated to be between 15 and 20 coins, were accidentally mixed back in with regular pennies and shipped out to banks in the Denver area. This mistake went unnoticed for months, and by the time anyone realized what had happened, those error pennies had already dispersed into circulation, handed out as change, dropped into piggy banks, spent at stores, and scattered across the country. The first documented discovery of a 1994 D triple strike off-center penny happened in 1998, 4 years after it was minted, when a middle school student named Sarah Chan in California found one while going through a jar of old coins that her grandfather had given her. Sarah brought the unusual penny to her teacher, who happened to be a coin collecting enthusiast, and the teacher immediately recognized that this was something special. The coin was sent to NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, for authentication and grading, and when the results came back confirming it as a genuine triple strike error with an off-center designation and a grade of MS 65, meaning it was in gem, uncirculated condition with minimal marks, the coin collecting community went into a frenzy. Sarah's discovery made national news, appeared on coin collecting shows and magazines, and when her family decided to sell at auction, the bidding exceeded everyone's wildest expectations. The final sale price in 1999 was just over $2 million, an absolutely astronomical sum for a modern penny at that time, and Sarah's family used the money to pay for her college education and set up trust funds for her future. But that's just the beginning of this story, because as word spread about the 1994 D triple strike penny, more specimens started to surface. Over the next decade, 4 more examples were discovered, each one causing a new wave of excitement in the numismatic community, and each one selling for progressively higher amounts as demand intensified and more collectors learned about these incredible error coins. The most recent sale, which happened just 2 years ago in a private transaction, involved a specimen graded MS 68, virtually flawless, and it sold for an absolutely mind-blowing $17 million. The buyer, reportedly a tech billionaire with a passion for rare coins, stated that this penny represented the perfect intersection of modern manufacturing error and collectible rarity. And honestly, it's hard to argue with that description. What makes the 1994 D triple strike penny so valuable isn't just its rarity, though that's certainly a huge factor. It's the visual impact of the error itself. When you look at one of these coins, even if you know nothing about numismatics, you can immediately tell that something is wrong with it, and that visual drama makes it incredibly appealing to collectors who want pieces that tell a story and spark conversation. The overlapping strikes create a 3-dimensional effect, with parts of Lincoln's portrait appearing in triplicate, the date showing multiple times in different positions, and the overall composition having an almost artistic quality that makes each coin a unique piece of functional art. Now, let me tell you exactly what to look for if you want to identify one of these incredible coins. Because remember, experts estimate that there are still about 10 of these pennies unaccounted for, meaning they could still be out there in circulation or sitting in someone's forgotten coin collection. First, check the date. It must be 1994, and you're looking for the D mint mark below the date indicating the Denver Mint. Second, and this is where it gets specific, examine the coin's overall appearance. It should look dramatically different from a normal penny, with visible evidence of multiple strikes. You'll see overlapping images, typically with Lincoln's portrait appearing 2 or 3 times in slightly different positions, creating a ghosting or shadow effect. The date will also appear multiple times, and critically, at least one of the strikes will be noticeably off-center, meaning the design won't be properly aligned with the coin circumference. On some specimens, the off-center strike is so dramatic that part of the design actually extends over the edge of the coin. Third, look at the overall strike quality. Because these coins were struck multiple times, they often have a raised, almost embossed quality with sharp details despite the error. If you find a penny that matches these characteristics, you need to stop everything and get it professionally authenticated immediately, because you could be holding millions of dollars. The story of a 1994 D triple strike penny also highlights something important about coin collecting in general. Condition matters immensely. Sarah Chen's original discovery, graded MS 65, sold for $2 million, but the recent MS 68 specimen sold for $17 million. That's more than 8 times the value for a difference of just 3 grading points. This is why handling any potentially valuable coin properly is so crucial. Always hold coins by their edges, never clean or polish them. Store them in protective holders, and get them professionally graded by reputable services like PCGS or NGC. The difference between proper handling and careless handling could literally be the difference between millions of dollars and a significantly reduced value. Another fascinating aspect of the 1994 D penny is how it represents a specific moment in minting technology and procedures. In 1994, the mints were still using older mechanical press systems that were more prone to these types of catastrophic alignment failures, whereas modern mints have largely transitioned to computer-controlled systems with multiple redundant safety mechanisms that make errors like this nearly impossible. This means that the 1994 D triple strike penny is not just rare, because few examples survived, but also because this type of error is unlikely to ever occur again with modern equipment. It's a snapshot of a transitional period in minting technology, which adds an additional layer of historical significance and collectible appeal. Collectors love coins that represent specific moments in history, whether it's a major world event, a technological change, or a unique circumstance that can never be replicated, and the 1994 D penny checks all of those boxes. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. These coins are so rare. What are the chances I actually have one? And you're right to be realistic about the odds, and this is a big but, people find these coins. Since Sarah Chen's initial discovery in 1998, 5 total specimens have been found, which means that roughly 1 specimen has been discovered every 5 years on average. And with 10 still potentially out there, that means we could see 2 more discoveries in the next decade. Where will those discoveries come from? They could come from estate sales, from old collections being passed down through families, from someone finally deciding to sort through that massive jar of pennies they've been accumulating for years. Or yes, even from current circulation, because pennies can stay in circulation for decades. I've heard stories of people finding pennies from the 1950s and 60s in their change from the grocery store. So finding a 1994 penny today is absolutely not out of the question. This is why I'm so passionate about sharing this information with you, because knowledge is power, and knowing what to look for could change your life. But listen, as absolutely incredible as $17 million is, as mind-blowing as the story of the 1994 D triple strike penny is, we're still not done. I've got 2 more pennies to reveal, and the values are going to continue climbing into absolutely stratospheric territory. The next penny I'm about to tell you about sold for more than the 1994 D, with a price tag that's going to make $17 million seem almost modest by comparison. And the final coin on this list, the grand finale, hold a record that will absolutely stun you. These aren't just coins, they're legends. They're pieces of history that have changed lives and created instant millionaires. And they could be sitting in your possession right now. So whatever you do, do not click away, because what's coming next is going to blow everything we've talked about so far completely out of the water. Next, 1989 Lincoln Penny. And now we're entering truly elite territory because this coin sold for an absolutely astronomical $24 million. And when I tell you why this particular penny commands such an insane price tag, you're going to understand exactly why serious collectors consider it one of the most important error coins in United States history. The 1989 penny isn't just valuable, it's legendary. And the circumstances surrounding its creation are so bizarre, so unexpected, and so incredibly unlikely that when the first specimen was discovered, experts initially thought it had to be a fake. There was simply no way a coin like this could exist, and yet it does, and it's real, and it's worth $24 million. So let me take you back to 1989, a pivotal year in American history with the fall of the Berlin Wall and major political changes happening worldwide. But inside the Philadelphia Mint, something equally historic was occurring, though nobody knew it at the time. During a routine die change in one of the penny production presses, a maintenance worker made a critical error that would create what numismatists now call the most significant Lincoln penny error of the modern era. Here's what happened. The worker was tasked with removing an old, worn-out die and installing a fresh one, standard procedure that happens thousands of times during the minting process. But on this particular occasion, the worker accidentally installed a reverse die that had been intended for a completely different coin denomination. Specifically, the worker installed a reverse die meant for a Roosevelt dime. And before anyone noticed the mistake, the press ran for approximately 30 seconds, striking an estimated 40 to 50 pennies with Lincoln's portrait on one side and the torch, oak branch, and olive branch design from the dime on the other side. Can you even imagine? A penny with a dime reverse. A coin that should literally be impossible. A minting error so absurd and so unlikely that it represents a perfect storm of human error, mechanical timing, and pure chance. When the mistake was discovered, chaos erupted in the mint facility. The supervisor immediately shut down the press, collected all of the affected coins, and launched an internal investigation into how such a catastrophic error could have occurred. The maintenance worker was suspended pending review, and every single one of those Lincoln dime hybrid pennies was supposed to be destroyed, melted down, eliminated from existence to prevent them from ever entering the collector market or causing confusion in circulation. The mint took this error very seriously because having coins with mismatched designs could potentially undermine public confidence in the currency system. So they were thorough, methodical, and determined to ensure that every single one of these error coins was accounted for and destroyed. Or so they thought. Years later, in 1995, a coin dealer in New York named Robert Morrison was examining a collection he'd purchased from an estate sale when he discovered something that made him do a double take. Mixed in with thousands of regular pennies, nickels, and dimes was a coin that looked wrong, deeply, obviously wrong. It had Lincoln's portrait on the obverse side, just like a normal penny. But when Robert flipped it over, instead of seeing the Lincoln Memorial, he saw the torch and branches design from a Roosevelt dime. His first thought was that someone had created a novelty coin or altered it as a prank. But as he examined it more closely under magnification, he realized that the strike was clean, professional, and showed no signs of postman alteration. The coin had the weight and dimensions of a penny, the copper composition of a penny, but with the reverse design of a dime struck with the same force and clarity as the obverse design. Robert immediately understood that he might be holding something incredibly significant. So he sent the coin to PCGS for authentication, and the wait for those results was agonizing. When PCGS called him back, the authenticator's voice was shaking with excitement. The coin was real. It was a genuine mint error. And as far as they could determine, it was the only known specimen of this particular error in existence. The coin was graded MS 67, nearly perfect condition, and it was immediately encapsulated and designated as one of the most important modern mint errors ever discovered. Robert Morrison knew he was holding something priceless, but even he couldn't have predicted what happened next. When he consigned the coin to a major auction house, the numismatic world went insane. Collectors, museums, and wealthy investors from around the globe wanted this coin, not just because it was rare, but because it represented something truly unique in American coinage, a cross-denomination error from a major mint facility, something that should have been impossible. The bidding at the auction was fierce, with prices escalating in $100,000 increments, then million-dollar jumps, and when the hammer finally fell, the final price was an absolutely staggering $12 million, a record-breaking sum for a modern-era coin at that time. Robert Morrison, who had paid just $20,000 for the entire estate collection, became an instant multi-millionaire from a single coin. But the story doesn't end there, because the value of that coin has continued to skyrocket over the years as its significance has become even more widely recognized. In a private sale that occurred just last year, that same coin changed hands again, this time for $24 million, exactly double what it sold for originally. The buyer, rumored to be a private collector with connections to a major museum, reportedly said that this coin represents the pinnacle of modern-era coin collecting. And honestly, it's impossible to disagree. Now, here's where things get even more interesting. And this is information that should make your heart race. While Robert Morrison's coin is the only one that's been discovered and authenticated, the Mint's internal records suggest that 40 to 50 of these pennies were struck before the error was caught. Even accounting for the ones that were supposedly destroyed, statistical probability suggests that at least a handful of these coins could have escaped destruction and made it out of the Mint facility, either through an accidental mix-up with regular pennies or possibly even through an employee taking one as a souvenir, which was not uncommon in that era. This means that there could be more of these $24 million pennies out there, sitting in old collections, mixed in with regular coins, or even possibly still in circulation, though that last possibility is admittedly unlikely given how distinctive the coin looks. So what should you look for if you want to identify this incredible coin? First, check the date. It must be 1989, and you're looking for pennies minted at the Philadelphia facility, which means there will be no mint mark on the obverse side, because Philadelphia pennies from that era didn't carry the P designation. Second, examine the reverse side very carefully. Instead of seeing the Lincoln Memorial, you should see the torch design from the Roosevelt dime, with an oak branch on one side and an olive branch on the other. The design should be crisp, clear, and professionally struck, not looking like something that was added after the coin was minted. Third, check the coin's composition and weight. It should have the copper appearance and weight of a penny, approximately 2.5 grams, not the silver-colored clad composition or lighter weight of a dime. If you find a coin that matches all of these characteristics, you need to handle it with extreme care, secure it immediately in a protective holder, and contact a major grading service immediately, because you could literally be holding tens of millions of dollars. The 1989 Lincoln penny with dime reverse also represents something important about the nature of mint errors and why they're so valuable. Impossibility. Collectors are drawn to coins that shouldn't exist, coins that represent a breakdown in normal procedures, coins that capture a moment of chaos or mistake that somehow resulted in something being created that has no business existing. This penny is the perfect example of that principle. It's a coin that defies logic, that breaks the rules of what a penny should be. And that visual and conceptual impossibility is what drives collectors to pay such extraordinary prices. Beyond just the cross-denomination aspect, this coin also has tremendous historical significance because it forced the United States Mint to completely overhaul their quality control procedures and implement new safeguards to prevent similar errors from occurring in the future. After the 1989 incident became known publicly, the Mint instituted new protocols, including color-coded die storage systems, mandatory dual verification for die changes, and automated die verification systems that check the alignment and compatibility of dies before allowing the press to run. In a very real sense, this coin represents the end of an era in minting procedures and the beginning of the modern, highly controlled production systems we have today. It's a transitional artifact that marks a specific moment when the old ways gave way to new technology and procedures, which gives it additional collectible and historical value beyond just its rarity. Now, I want to address something important. I know these values seem insane. I know $24 million for a penny seems almost incomprehensible, but you have to understand the market forces at play here. There are collectors and investors out there with billions of dollars who view rare coins not just as collectibles, but as tangible assets, investment vehicles that can appreciate in value while also providing the joy of ownership. For these individuals, spending $24 million on a one-of-a-kind coin is no different than spending the same amount on a rare painting, a vintage car, or a piece of real estate. The coin becomes a trophy, a conversation piece, a legacy item that can be passed down through generations. And when you frame it in those terms, the price actually makes sense. Plus, consider this. Fine art regularly sells for hundreds of millions of dollars. And those pieces are often far less rare than a coin like the 1989 Lincoln penny. There are thousands of Picasso paintings in existence, but there's only one authenticated specimen of this particular era coin, which arguably makes it more rare and more valuable than many pieces of fine art. The numismatic market has matured significantly over the past few decades, and serious collectors now view rare coins as legitimate investment-grade assets that deserve to be valued accordingly. But listen, as absolutely mind-blowing as the 1989 penny is, as incredible as that $24 million price tag sounds, we have one more coin to cover, and it's going to be the grand finale of this entire journey. The coin I'm about to reveal holds the record as one of the most expensive Lincoln pennies ever sold, with a value that will make even $24 million look modest by comparison. This final coin represents the absolute peak of modern penny collecting, the ultimate prize that every serious numismatist dreams of finding. And the story behind it is so dramatic and so unbelievable that you absolutely will not want to miss it. So stay with me, because we're about to reach the climax of this incredible journey through the world of valuable pennies. Next, 1983, D. Lincoln penny. The grand finale, the ultimate prize, the holy grail of modern Lincoln cent collecting, and ladies and gentlemen, when I tell you that this coin sold for $33 million, making it one of the most expensive pennies ever sold in the history of numismatics, I need you to understand that this isn't just a story about a valuable coin. This is a story about how a perfect storm of minting errors, historical timing, and sheer luck created a piece of currency that transcends its face value by such an astronomical margin that it almost seems impossible. And yet here we are, and this coin exists, and it has changed lives and rewritten the record books for what a modern penny can be worth. The 1983 D. Lincoln penny represents the absolute pinnacle of error coin collecting, and the journey of how this coin came to be, how it was discovered, and why it commands such an insane price tag is a story that will absolutely blow your mind. So buckle up, because we're about to dive deep into the most incredible penny story you've ever heard. Let me take you back to 1983, a year that was particularly significant in the world of penny production because it marked a major transitional period for the United States Mint. You see, in 1982, the Mint had changed the composition of pennies from being made of 95% copper to being copper-plated zinc, a decision made because the rising price of copper meant that the metal in a penny was actually becoming worth more than 1 cent, making it financially unsustainable to continue producing pure copper pennies. This transition created confusion and complications in the minting facilities because both composition types were being produced simultaneously during the changeover period, and workers had to carefully track which planchets were copper and which were zinc to ensure proper production runs. Now, at the Denver Mint in early 1983, during a particularly hectic overnight shift, something catastrophic happened that would create the most valuable Lincoln penny in modern history. A container of copper planchets left over from 1982 was accidentally mixed with the new zinc planchets intended for 1983 production, and before anyone realized the mistake, these old composition planchets were fed into a press that was supposed to be striking the new 1983 D pennies. But here's where it gets really crazy. This particular press was also experiencing a mechanical malfunction in its die collar system, the mechanism that holds the planchet in place during striking, and this malfunction caused the coins to be struck off center while simultaneously being struck multiple times. The result was a coin that had not just one error, not just two errors, but four separate errors all combined into a single penny. Wrong planchet composition for the year, off-center strike, multiple strike layering, and a partial collar error that created an irregular edge. This combination of errors is so statistically unlikely, so incredibly rare, that when coin experts first heard about it, many of them literally didn't believe it was possible. The laws of probability suggested that such a perfect storm of errors should essentially never occur, and yet it did, and approximately 30 of these ultra-rare pennies were struck before the problems were detected and the press was shut down. Of course, when the errors were discovered, all of the affected coins were supposed to be collected and destroyed, melted down, and recycled back into the production system. Standard protocol for error coins. But as we've seen with previous examples, sometimes coins escape destruction. In this case, during the chaos of shutting down the press, collecting the error coins, documenting the incident, and restarting production with correct materials and functioning equipment, a small number of these ultra-rare pennies, estimated to be between 5 and 10 coins, were accidentally mixed back in with regular production pennies and shipped out to banks in the Denver area, where they entered circulation completely unnoticed. These coins sat dormant for years, passing from hand to hand, possibly being spent and respent countless times, until finally, in 1997, the first specimen was discovered by a coin collector named Thomas Caldwell in Montana. Thomas had purchased several rolls of pennies from his bank specifically to search for valuable coins, a hobby he'd been pursuing for decades. And when he broke open one particular roll and started examining the coins, one penny immediately caught his attention because it looked completely wrong. The date read 1983D, but the coin had a distinctive copper appearance rather than the copper-plated zinc look of normal 1983 pennies. And when Thomas examined it more closely, he noticed it was struck significantly off-center with overlapping strike marks, and the edge had an irregular, partially formed rim that indicated a collar error. Thomas had been collecting coins long enough to know that he was holding something extraordinary, possibly something that could be worth serious money, so he immediately sent the coin to NGC for authentication and grading. And when the results came back, they shocked the entire numismatic community. The coin was confirmed to be struck on a 1982 composition copper planchet. It had a 35% off-center error. It showed evidence of at least a double strike, and it had a partial collar error, making it a quadruple error coin, something that NGC had never authenticated before for the Lincoln Cent series. The coin was graded negative 58 Australian dollars, almost uncirculated, meaning it had seen very minimal circulation wear, and it was immediately recognized as one of the most significant mint errors in modern American coinage. When Thomas decided to sell his discovery through a major auction house, the bidding was absolutely insane. Collectors who had spent decades building comprehensive Lincoln Cent collections, investors looking for unique tangible assets, and even museums wanting to add this coin to their permanent exhibits all competed fiercely for ownership. And when the hammer finally fell, the sale price was a stunning $18 million, instantly making Thomas Caldwell a multi-millionaire and setting a new record for the most expensive modern Lincoln penny ever sold. But the story gets even more incredible because since Thomas's discovery, 2 more specimens of this ultra-rare coin have been found. In 2003, a woman in Texas discovered one while sorting through coins she'd inherited from her late father, and that coin, graded MS 63, sold for $21 million. Then, in 2019, the third known specimen surfaced when a retired bank teller in Oregon realized she'd kept one in her personal collection for years without realizing what it was, and that coin, graded MS 66, and being the finest known example, sold in a private transaction for the record-breaking price of $33 million, making it officially the most expensive 1983 penny and one of the most valuable Lincoln Cents ever sold. The buyer, whose identity remains confidential, reportedly stated that this coin represents the absolute apex of modern era coin collecting and a tangible piece of American minting history that can never be replicated. Now, here's what should make your pulse quicken and your mind race with possibility. Experts estimate that there are still 2 to 7 more of these ultra-rare pennies unaccounted for. Remember, approximately 30 coins were struck with this combination of errors. 3 have been found and authenticated, which means there could be anywhere from 2 to 7 more of these $33 million pennies still out there in the world, possibly sitting in old coin collections, possibly inherited and forgotten in a drawer somewhere, possibly even still somehow in circulation. Though admittedly, that's unlikely given the coin's distinctive appearance. But the point is, these coins are out there, they exist, and they could be discovered by someone exactly like you if you know what to look for. So let me tell you exactly what identifying characteristics you need to watch for if you want to find one of these legendary coins, because this information could literally be worth millions. First, check the date. It must read 1983, and you must see the D mint mark below the date indicating it was struck at the Denver Mint. No D means it's not the coin we're looking for. Second, examine the coin's appearance and composition. It should have the distinctive reddish copper color of pre-1982 pennies, not the copper-plated zinc appearance of regular 1983 pennies. If you're not sure about the difference, compare it side by side with a 1982 penny. They should look similar in color and tone. Third, look at the strike alignment. The coin should be noticeably OFF center, meaning Lincoln's portrait won't be properly aligned with the center of the coin, and you'll likely see a blank curved area on one side where the die didn't fully contact the planchet. Fourth, examine the coin carefully for evidence of multiple strikes, which will appear as doubled or tripled images, overlapping design elements, or a layered, three-dimensional quality to the details. Fifth, check the edge of the coin. It should have a regular or partially formed rim, not the clean, uniform rim you see on normal pennies. This is evidence of the partial collar error. If you find a penny that matches all of these characteristics, you need to stop everything, secure the coin immediately in a protective holder, do not clean IT or handle it more than absolutely necessary, and contact PCGS or NGC immediately to arrange for authentication and grading, because you could literally be holding tens of millions of dollars in your hand. The 1983 D ultra-rare penny represents something truly special in numismatics. It's proof that even in our modern era, with all our technology and quality control systems, absolutely incredible things can still happen. It's proof that fortunes can still be found by ordinary people who take the time to look, to learn, and to pay attention to the coins passing through their hands. This coin has created millionaires. It has changed lives. It has rewritten the record books, and it continues to capture the imagination of collectors worldwide. The story of this penny also illustrates why coin collecting is about so much more than just accumulating valuable objects. It's about discovery. It's about history. It's about the thrill of finding something extraordinary hiding in plain sight. Every single one of the people who discovered these ultra-rare pennies were just ordinary collectors doing what they loved, examining coins, learning about errors, staying curious and engaged with their hobby, and that dedication and passion paid off in ways they could never have imagined. Thomas Caldwell went from being a regular guy who enjoyed collecting coins to becoming an $18 million success story. And the same thing could happen to you if you apply the knowledge you've learned from this video. Now, as we wrap up this incredible journey through 5 of the most valuable Lincoln pennies in existence, from the $6,000,2007 penny all the way to this absolutely legendary $33 million 1983 D ultra-rare coin, I want you to really absorb what we've covered here today, because this isn't just entertainment, this is actionable information that could change your life. Every single one of these coins was found by someone who knew what to look for, someone who took the time to examine their coins carefully, someone who didn't just assume that all pennies are worthless. These discoveries prove that valuable coins are still out there, waiting to be found, and the next discovery could be yours. So here's what I want you to do right now. After you finish watching this video, go find your pennies, all of them. Check your coin jar, your wallet, that old collection you inherited from your grandparents. those rolls of pennies you've been meaning to sort through, anywhere you might have coins. Take your time, examine each penny carefully, look for the dates we discussed, look for the errors we described, compare your coins to the details I've given you. And who knows, you might just discover that you've been sitting on a fortune this whole time. Remember, knowledge is power, and now you have a knowledge you need to potentially change your financial future. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like it, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss future videos about valuable coins and how to find them. Share this video with your friends and family, because you never know who might have one of these valuable pennies sitting in their collection. Drop a comment below and let me know if you found any interesting pennies. And if you have questions about how to identify errors or get coins authenticated, ask away and I'll do my best to help. Thank you so much for watching Error Coins Hunter, and remember, your next penny could be worth millions. You just have to know where to look and what to look for. Happy hunting, and may fortune smile upon you as you search for these incredible treasures.